Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Crystals and Coffee. I'm very excited. I have a special guest on today named 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗦𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥. And Julie is one of my partners in mystical crime at Crystal Cave LA. And today she's going to be teaching us how to do gem facials.
Woohoo!
I was just talking about you.
Oh, thanks. Hey, everybody.
Your hair looks
So
good.
nice to see you. Oh, thanks. It's kind of doing its own wacky thing, but
It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere.
You're this going that way, and yeah. How's everything?
Oh, it's good. It's in process every day. Being home has really heightened my level to living in the moment more than I have ever done before.
Right? And
Yeah.
you already had a practice with that before.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's brand new and fresh. It's just deeper and wider on a whole new level.
I'm not living on the 10-minute of the moment. It's the 10-second moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful and intense. I can only imagine.
Yes, that's right. It is very home is intense right now, but it's all good. I've got my gem tool to save my ass.
Yes.
To release all of the worry wrinkles.
Yeah.
Certain individuals are
anything else
throwing my way.
Anything else that our face is holding.
Yeah.
You know, I think our face is such a diligent and an assistive friend to get us through so many different scenarios and so many different triggering events. And I think our face can lock that in certain ways. So if there's a lot of things going on underneath the surface emotionally, and our face is like, cool, I'll be processing this later. It's not supportive, or it's not safe, or it's not aligned to process it now externally. The face kind of holds that and does a great service for us to be like its own container, to be like, gonna hold that, gonna take care of you. Let's get you through this scenario. But so important for us to then release it at some point.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I always, if I've had a really long day of channeling with clients, or I just had a really big event where I had to use my intuition and channel, without a doubt, my face will be completely clear. And the next morning I wake up, I'll have zits either on my third eye or near my telepathics on my temples.
Yes.
Every time.
Yes. And do you ever notice if a client comes in, or even over Zoom, right, or FaceTime, if they're breaking out right here or right here, do you break out in the same place the next day or next few days?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
It is annoying. Or is it, just as it's the face or the body, even it's as an empath, clients will come in with neck pain, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, my neck hurts.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, how are you dealing with this right now? Because this is unbearable. Yeah.
And you're like, and I don't want to process your shit.
Yeah. So that again.
Yeah.
I can't find my rose quartz one. So here I am. I think this is Soda Light.
Well, you know what? They look like little sharks.
No, they do. I do. I call it the surfboard fin.
Yeah.
So mine looks a little bit different than yours, but maybe that's a benefit. And I also brought this one, which is Sandra from Treatment by Lanchine. So this is more of a
that one looks like a
tool.
fish.
It
looks like a goldfish.
A female. It does look like a fish.
Those Pepperidge Farm goldfish.
Torso, like a little bathing suit. Do you see it?
I do see it. I hope she's not insulted. I totally think it looks like the little Pepperidge Farm cheddar cheese goldfish.
Yeah, it does.
Like when you're little.
Yes. I've been eating a lot of, speaking of childhood snacks, I feel like I've been going for a lot of that kind of thing lately. Like Michael, my husband, ordered Lucky Charms
Oh
He's
my
like, we're getting
goodness.
Lucky Charms cereal. I'm like, what? But comfort.
Instacart.
It's important right now.
You know what?
But also any of you guys, if you don't have a specific gua sha tool, you can also just we used this last time. Yep. You can just use something polished that, again, isn't salt-based.
So wait, Julie, we just super dove in there because we haven't seen each other in so long. It's like a little energy dive through the phone. Please tell people who
I am.
Yeah.
So funny because
tell us all about you.
The Instagram live is going. My name is 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗦𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥. I'm currently in Los Angeles in my home, and I have a business and share space with Queen Colleen in Santa Monica called 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗙𝗦𝗧𝗧𝗘𝗥. And my work is energy healing and shamanic facials and readings. So I've been offering some virtual things instead of in person. And that's been really interesting. It's been eye-opening and a gift in so many ways. And I can't remember if we talked about this last time or not, Colleen, but to kind of see people two-dimensionally. Mm-hmm. I feel like seeing them third eye wise or in the clairs, it's so much more vibrant and so much more obvious sometimes than it can be in person. So that's been an interesting experience.
What before we get into the gem facial itself, because you brought up a good point, and I think there's a lot of business owners out there and a lot of people that work in the beauty industry or the wellness industry. How have you been pivoting your in-person business via Zoom
to virtual via Zoom? I took a good month off, and I felt like that was so many things. It was terrifying, and it was also so needed and so necessary. And it felt like it gave me the space to come from my heart and come from an authentic place of okay, what do I need right now? And then from that place, how can I give from a more filled cup? So what came out of all of that was the readings that I give, I no longer give in person. So they're over Zoom or telephone, the Akashic record readings, which is accessing a field of consciousness that's it's high and above the astral plane. So the beings of consciousness, and beings is kind of puts them into some tangible form, which they're not. The masters, teachers, and loved ones live there. So the masters are, again, beings of consciousness that have never incarnated into a body, have never come down to any planet. And they are just pure light and pure wisdom. So they've never been influenced by desire or ego. And then the teachers have incarnated. So teachers could be ascended masters, really, like Isis, or Isis meaning the Egyptian goddess, not the terrorist group. The Jesus Christ, or Mary Magdalene, Hina, the Hawaiian goddess Hina. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm forgetting the millions of them, but I think of Mother Teresa as one. And then the loved ones are folks who we've known in this lifetime or other lifetimes. So family, friends, colleagues who are guiding and supporting us from that realm, who have left their body, transitioned, or passed on. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense to me. So everyone, whether you get a session with Julie via Zoom or in person when we're allowed to touch each other and hug and see each other again and all the good things, she's doing all of that while she's giving you a facial. So that's how amazing she is.
Clarifying.
So she's basically you know, channeling an access point while touching your face and clearing you on a physical or a 3-dimensional level and an energetic level. Is that fair?
It's perfect.
Okay.
And like what you were saying, how you experience organ transmission of like, if there's suddenly a pain going on in my kidneys, I'm like, oh, it's, you know, I've gotten so much better at recognizing like, that's not mine.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in your lower back? What's going on in your mid back? Are you having pain while urinating? Are you having, like, what's the deal? And they're like, how did you know? So like you experience this whole body organ transmission of how our body will pick it up, feel it, and then we're able to communicate it to hopefully bring that awareness and consciousness up to the surface for the client, and then they can clear it.
For me, I had to learn the hard way because at first I wasn't recognizing that it wasn't somebody else's. That was just obviously a learning curve I think all empaths go through.
Yes.
But for me, I would have to say it to that person. Like I would carry it until I said it to them, and then it would immediately go away.
Yes.
And it wouldn't go away until then.
Yeah. It's fascinating. And then from our other Instagram live that we did, another virtual offering was born, the virtual gem facial by popular demand.
Surprise, you have a second baby.
I have another one. So yeah, that's been really fun to, it's as close as I can get, right, to giving a facial without being in person and touching anyone. So to, you know, create a custom experience. So like, and we'll do this today of, you know, having a little bit of a dialogue, talking emotionally what's going on, energetically what's going on. And then I can also pinpoint and target like, oh yeah, there's some inflammation going on there. That is because there's excess sadness, or there's a breakout going on there. For example, I keep breaking out right here this week, which is ascending colon.
Oh.
When the colon on the face lives right here as well as right here. So it's like the same shape as how you'd see it on your body, and it's the same side. So, you know, right side is going to be the ascending colon side. So that's just been interesting and really fun because people are like, oh, no, what? Like, this has been going on all week. Like, no wonder, because I'm also grieving. And so it's great fun, and also a lot of emotional work that I think is necessary. I think that's part of the reason why, you know, this virus is here to slow us down and look at some stuff that a lot of us have shoved down or swallowed or not looked at for a while.
I agree. I keep obviously first and foremost reminding myself what I'm about to say, and everybody else, my clients and such, you know, looking at this time we have inside to slow down as greatest teacher and asking ourselves, like, what is it showing me that I need or to let go to move forward? Yeah.
And talk about presence, like what you brought up at the very beginning of the call. It's like there's really no other choice unless you want to continue to resist it, to just focus on this moment, because tomorrow knows. You know? Yeah. It's like there's no other place to go.
Mm-mm. So I can tell you where my stress is right now. I can't wait to hear what you tell me. It's in my jaw, like back here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So control.
Yeah. Oh, that old thing.
You know, yeah. And also like processing, right? Like this muscle, our masseter muscle, is how we chew. That's what helps our jaw clench down and chew. So we're processing, we're digesting, we're breaking down so that our body can take in the enzymes, can take in the nutrients. It's a big place of like mulling and processing and breaking down for better digestion, for better understanding. And it's also about communication, you know, this whole chakra, the throat and the jaw, this voice that we have is such a limb to reach out and touch people or caress people or smack people to wake them up. hopefully with kindness and compassion and not with any other intention. So there's so much happening in the jaw. Yeah. And I often find that when we aren't getting things off of our chest, the jaw will kind of go to work at night. So many people grind their teeth, and like their jaw gets so tight, and so many folks have temporomandibular TMJ, temporomandibular joint disorder. So it's like doing gua sha and doing massage, or just lion's breath, stretching the jaw way out, can reinform that muscle of like, this isn't the only way to exist as tightly as possible. You know, it's good to have flexibility to be able to open. Some people are so tight they can't even open their jaw all the way.
Wow.
Any other areas?
No, that's it. That actually, that really, the control thing resonates. Just obviously, nobody here knows this really, but Julie already does. I'm home with my parents in Pennsylvania, and my mom's in the middle of receiving chemo, and it's, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, I thought I knew what surrender was, and I know I practice surrender. I practice surrender every day, inside down and inside out and upside down. But you know, being my mom's caregiver through this, it's been a wild fucking ride. Yeah, truly. So yeah, that makes complete sense. I have no control, and I have an abundance of surrender. Yeah. And our parents, you know, even though they've lived up to this point, so, you know, half of a lifetime or almost a whole lifetime, there's a childlikeness, I think, that comes about when there's illness, or when the potentiality of transitioning feels closer. Yeah. And so there's that phrase of, you can only lead a horse to water. It's like, you can't like drink. So it is such a beautiful and challenging act to care for somebody else, and to do your absolute best and then let go again and again and again. Totally. So I bow down to you. Oh God. You're doing so well. Thank you. And so I'm grateful to be here with you today, so that I can give you and gift you a couple of things to help you sustain and help you to not hold in your own body the amount of holding that you're doing in your life and for your loved ones, and to keep flushing fear, right? Yeah. So that you can be your most present, most loving self. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Okay. So I guess, yes, jaw, I would assume with the issue of control, I'm sure everybody on this Instagram live could probably nod their heads at that one. Yes. Maybe also, I don't know, you know, crow's feet, wrinkles, furrowing the brow, that type of stuff, stress. Oh, yeah. If you want to hit any of those hot buttons, I'll take my glasses off. So, okay, yeah. So we can work. Sure. And Julie, let me ask you a question. Yes. Do you want me to work with a gua sha tool because you have one of those, or should I show with a non-tool in case anybody at home is doing this with us? I'm going to have you work with the gua sha tool. Okay. And I'll kind of mix and match between polished stone and gua sha tool and my fingers. Cool. Lady, you lead the way. So we'll do one half first, and we're going to get through it all and so that you can see the difference between the two sides of, you know, just what 3 strokes per area could do. Yeah. So when we're working with crystals, as all of Colleen's audience probably knows, to honor, right? To honor these stones and honor the consciousness and the properties that come with them. So especially if this is a brand new crystal, to clear it and then charge it. So an easy way to clear it is to say, this is now cleared. And I like to have, you know, some sort of grounding in my body. So if I'm feeling my feet on the floor, or I'm sending a really, really deep breath into my heart so that I'm connected throughout the chakras. So this is now clear. And then one way to charge it up is to place it over the heart.
And take another deep breath. Beautiful. And something else that's really important is to be slow and to breathe. So many times when I've taught gua sha one-on-one or in large classes, people are like, going so fast. And I'm like, whoa, slow. You can actually get a better, more long-lasting result going slow and gently. So let's just bring our fingertips to these lymph nodes that live right above the clavicle.
Okay.
And you just lightly, kind of like pump. And what these lymph nodes do is they're like little washing machines. They're cleansing the lymph fluid, which is so responsible for keeping our immune system really strong. It's taking all of the toxins from our face, head, neck, and it's cleansing them right here. And then turning the good fluid, which goes back into the bloodstream. The blood is what nourishes and fuels all of the cells, and then the rest exits the body. And breathing.
And Julie, some of these skills that you're teaching right now, what would be an appropriate amount of times to do this a week?
Yeah, it's as many times as you are able to.
Okay.
So if you can do it every day, that's great. If you can do it once a week, that's also great. So I find consistency is really important. So instead of doing it one time and then 3 months from now doing it 3 times in that one day, to have some sort of consistency with it. So even if you can't do it every day, try to aim for once a week or twice a week in the beginning. But you can't overdo it as far as, every day is a great amount. I will say if you're doing the amount of strokes, try to keep it under 10 strokes per area, because that can just shift and move too much of the fluid at once, can kind of bring out a healing crisis or cold flu-like symptoms, because so many of the toxins get shoved around. So bringing your tool to the very bottom, so right above where you are just pumping over the lymph nodes, and keeping the tool flat and really light, and we're just gliding up to the jawbone. Beautiful. And breathing. So noticing, Colleen, if you're holding in your jaw, and just sending breath there, letting your gums release and relax. We're going to aim for about 3 to 5 strokes. Beautiful. If you start to get a little bit pink, what are you experiencing? That was a deep breath. Heat. Yeah, right? Because there's probably a lot from the heart and a lot from the mind that wants to be spoken, and it hasn't been appropriate, maybe, to say it out loud. So when you're ready, you can bring the tool flat underneath your chin.
Okay.
So many folks have like a ton of fluid here, and we call that the turkey neck. So you can drain that and avoid that kind of sagging there. So holding taut with your thumb and then sweeping, keeping it nice and flat right underneath the jaw. And you just kind of flip it.
Oh.
And then, I know it's kind of a tricky move. Flat, flat, flat. And then flip it and kind of drag down just gently right over those lymph nodes there.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah, nice and flat. So instead of like on the edge, this isn't quite grabbing as much, if you notice. Like, you're like, ooh, I just feel like I'm getting clawed. But if you keep it flat, it's really able to drain that fluid in such a great way. Yes, perfection. Good. You might start swallowing a lot. You might have to pee soon because it's just moving so much fluid around. So when you're ready, keeping an anchor with this finger and then bringing the tool to the middle and going right over the jaw. This is great for this kind of sagginess that can happen here. And what that is tension in the muscle. And that can create weight in the tissue. So the more we massage and drain, the more freedom in the tissues, so that that weight doesn't start to accumulate and collect.
I feel little, like it's going
Crunchy?
over like little speed bumps right about here.
Yes.
Towards my ear.
It's just like calcified tension and little like knots. You know how we get knots in our shoulder muscles, like these trapezius.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah. Trapezius muscle. Same thing. There's so many different muscles here, and we can get little knots of tension in them. So this is such a great way to break them up. You can do a few extra strokes here because so many this is the lung. So when I say this is the lung, people are like, no, that's my jaw. I'm talking about traditional Chinese medicine and facial mapping. So reflexology has come up with this kind of mapping. I know there's a horrible glare right now, but the lung is right in the lower cheek, right underneath the cheekbone. And this virus right now is attacking the lungs, which is grief and sadness. Mm. So it's an opportunity to acknowledge and recognize that emotion and also let it out. And a great way to let it out is with the exhale. So making sure that we're breathing and exhaling. We also have really clean hands and tools and face. I forgot to say that in the beginning.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. So with clean hands, you can also go right inside your mouth.
Okay.
To that muscle that I was talking about, the duodenum, which is a part of the large intestine. It's like that kind of turning point where the body is trying to discern, is this pure or is this impure? Is this going to go down into the colon, or is this going to go and stay in the body to nourish some cells? This area. So you bring your thumb into your mouth, mm-hmm. and then mine's really tight right now. If it's really tight, you can use quite a bit of pressure. Dude, inner mouth work is so gnarly. It's so good. Make sure you wash your hands.
Am I going to cry later?
Else after this. You might. Yeah, that's a great thing to talk about is, here, I'll keep talking as we do this area. So this is the adrenals. And then this area that we're going to trace right underneath is the cheekbone, but it's also the meridian between lung and stomach. And stomach tends to hold the emotion of disgust. Oh. So we're cleansing some disgust and some grief right now. So just knowing like, that's why that thought is coming in. That's why that emotion's coming in. That's why I haven't taken a deep breath in 3 minutes. But like Colleen said, am I going to cry later? Maybe. This brings up so much stuff. So many things can come to the surface. Rage could come up. A rash, like in a totally different part of the body, could come up. So just knowing like, this is powerful work. And I just shifted some things. And let's drink tons and tons of water after this. If you have celery, eat some celery or juice some celery.
Why celery?
Celery is an incredible cleanser. It assists heavy metals out of the body. It assists the liver. And the liver is so closely connected with skin and with skin health because it's an excretory organ, just like the skin. So if the liver is slowing and the function isn't as good, the skin is going to pick up the slack. And that's why you'll start to see breakout, because it's like, closest point of exit, this pore. So then you see all of a sudden a big whitehead or something. Oh, I could do this one all day. Let's not overdo it. So when you're ready, coming up to just the side, like not really over that bone, but just next to it and right under the eye. This is the stomach. So we're just really gently and lovingly. You can go a little softer, Colleen.
Too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And just be mindful of your eye. Like you don't want to be up in your eye's business. Yeah. Beautiful. Right over the stomach, up over that cheekbone, and you're going all the way to the hairline.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so you might, when, like, there's so many muscle attachments here, right at the hairline. I'm forgetting to breathe. Yeah, right? It's tight,
feel it up
maybe.
there.
A lot of holding right there. What's interesting is, like, up here at the top hairline, that is relationship to bladder.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, again, is, like, letting go, right? Letting go of what we don't need anymore. And it's also just such a big cleanser. Whew. You can see such a big difference. Well, I see it. I don't know if you guys can see it. Big difference here. It's like this eye is sitting in a whole different way on my face. You too. There's a lift up here for you, even though we haven't even gotten there yet. And it's because the fluid has been drained out, so the whole eye is not like kind of falling down the face.
Oh, God.
People often say that they can see differently after doing work like this. They're like, literally, colors are different. Like, I see people differently. I'm in a more loving place. I'm like, yes, good.
Oh, I love that.
It's lovely. So ready to go to your eyebrow and really give her a lift?
I love this one.
So you kind of bring that smaller point and you're connecting with the bone and muscle. We're not putting a ton of pressure, but just avoiding the eye. Okay. So none of this. Okay.
Okay.
Coming here, and then the intention is to bring it up. So you are giving it a lift. And then, oops, I've been supposed to be switching back and forth between polished stones and fingers and tool. Yeah, so go gently with that corner. Yeah. Keep it nice and flat. Yes. Whew, whew, whew. God, this stone, man, is intense. Rhodochrosite. This happened last time. Clearing insecurities. Lordy. Coming back to my calm.
I feel like you're too much for me right now.
Yeah,
go sit down.
Way too much. You just look at me from over there. All right. I think we've done enough here.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you see a difference?
Totally. Yes.
It's not drastic, but I see it. So then you can go right above the eyebrow.
Okay.
And we're going to just lift straight up. Up the forehead. Good. And breathing, everyone. Make sure you're breathing.
And so, Jewel, let's just say somebody doesn't have a gua sha tool, doesn't have a crystal. How does it work with the hands?
Yep. Just keeping it flat. Thank you.
And would you advise someone to put oil or something on their face?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Before doing this?
I would do a little mist and then some oil. And I'd be really generous, like lots of drops.
Okay.
Because you want to be a little bit overhydrated and you want that glide as opposed to like, you want that nice glide. Do you like my sound effects?
I do.
Yeah, so if you have just fingers going up, and then once you've gone up, if you have your fingers, you just glide from the middle out with your tool. Go from the middle out, and there is a little bit of a lift right at the end.
Okay.
But I really feel like this is such a fabulous thought melter.
Ooh, I'll take that one.
Yeah, right? Things are just going around the washing machine inside the brain. It's such a great way to flush them out and just melt them, dissolve them away. And this is, so much is happening here. The liver is right here, kind of like right below third eye and surrounding third eye. And then ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. Bladder is up here. Gallbladder. Gallbladder is so much about overthinking, over-worrying. Liver can hold rage. Again, colon is about letting go. And also about the beginning of the colon, the beginning of the intestines, that kind of like discernment, decision-making. I also love going middle and up. just like a nice third eye clearing cleanse. And this is such a great thing to do right before bed. It makes me so sleepy and calm. Great way to get little ones to go to bed. Still hasn't worked on my 10-month-old, but we're still trying. Good.
And by the way, go ahead. I was just going to say, if anybody has any, while you're doing this facial, if anybody has any questions for you, to please put it in the feed or the question box.
Yeah. This like middle center channel that we're working on right now, I feel like often will highlight for me as the skin therapist, or as I'm working on myself, like, oh, there's like a blinking light over here. This is like an area that I missed, or like this is an area that I missed. All of a sudden things start talking to me.
Really?
When I'm doing this move right in the middle, because it's like this beautiful, it's like we're kind of addressing the pineal gland as well as the corpus callosum, that bridge between the left and right hemisphere. So it's very harmonizing, very balancing between the energies, the masculine and the feminine energies. So I feel like every time I'm working there, I'm like, oh, could go back to that spot, or like, ooh, this whole thing over here needs a little more attention, a little more love. Oh, how often should we gua sha? Also, hi, Lindsay. So I was speaking about this earlier of like consistency is more important than quantity. So you could do this every day. And again, it doesn't have to be this long and lengthy. You could just do one stroke in each area, or two. But to have consistency, instead of like doing it 5 times in one day, which can lead to healing crisis or flu-like symptoms because we're moving too much of that fluid at one time. So if you can do it in some consistent manner, so if that looks like once a week and that's like your Sunday night ritual, that's fantastic. But try to avoid like doing it a ton of times in one day and then not doing it for 3 months. And also try to stay under 10 strokes per section. Because again, we don't want to move too much of that toxin fluid around. What else? Do you have any thoughts on what chronic headaches mean? Yes. And any suggestions for treating with gua sha? Absolutely. So we were talking about the TMJ disorder, the temporomandibular joint, which is right at this, right at the jaw. There's too much tension here because this muscle actually travels all the way up into here. So a lot of times migraines are from clenching or grinding with the jaw and with the teeth. So a great way to alleviate is to go to the source. But like we were showing with going all the way to the hairline where there's all these attachments in the muscle, this is a great way to release, because I feel like both Colleen and I were like, whoa, what's happening right here? It's tender or it's tight. And, you know, the temple is here. This is like a big area of processing. There's overthinking or over worrying gallbladder right here. So it's a great way to just release. Do you also, Colleen, have a crystal that you would recommend? Like if you wanted to focus on some crystal therapy, say you had like a polished stone about like this where there's a flattened side that's good for headaches?
Well, as far as headaches, yeah. So they're both purple. 𝗖𝗥𝗬𝗦 or 𝗧𝗛𝗔𝗦 are both good for treating headaches. You could even, again, I know this is a little off topic, but wearing those as earrings, because that's like close to the high traffic zone.
Yes.
So yeah,
that's
those would be the two
I love that
crystals I would recommend.
That's fantastic. All right. Did I miss any other ones? I don't think so.
There's something in the question box. Hold, please. Let's see what this is. That's just my boyfriend asking questions that have nothing to do
Satnam,
with this.
What are you asking about?
I know, Satnam. Yeah.
All right. Continue. Should we go to the other side?
Yeah, let's do it.
So last time Colleen and I did this, we're keeping the tool nice and flat, really light. last time Colleen and I did this, I talked so much that we weren't able to finish and go to the other side.
Well, that's because people had so many questions for you, lady.
And they had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But I never did the other side. I told you to do it. I don't know if you had time.
I did.
Good, because I didn't do it. And I felt so crazy for 2 days until I was like, what's going on? And then I remembered and I was like, I have to do the other side. So I felt really out of whack. And I didn't do my left side, which is feminine energy. So that receiving, that nourishing. So I was like, shoot.
Well, last time we did it, I noticed such a change on my face that after we got off Instagram, I ran to my bathroom because like my face looked wonky. It just didn't look like the other side. I was like, I can't walk around like this.
Yeah, it's so powerful. And like we forget that softness and gentle is such a powerful way of being. It really can change and move so much. When you're ready, coming underneath the chin, again, keeping the tool really flat. If you have your hands, you could do one of two ways. You could use thumbs and breathing and keeping that jaw as loose and as open as possible. If you don't want to use your thumbs, you can make little claws like this.
And again, ladies, this is to get rid of turkey neck. This is an important one.
Yes. So good. Because again, so much of that is fluid that then stretches out the tissue or creates tension, and then that creates weight in the tissue and it starts to sag, all those things. Then when you're ready and you feel like the turkey neck has been sufficiently tended to and cared for, you move to the jawline. Again, keeping an anchor. Yeah. Just keeping it flat. It really, everyone's like, which way do I hold it? Like you can do any which way. It kind of just makes sense to me, like following the shape of the face. Like I don't bring this. Oh, actually I could though, couldn't I?
Ooh, look
bring
at that.
This up here. I usually do it like this because I can get more detail. I can fit into more of this area, but again, whatever which direction works. So if you don't have a tool and you're just using your hands, say again, Colleen.
I have a question for anybody that's like watching this and super in. How do you go and study this?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think that in-person classes are happening. Yeah. But there's a certification with Nefeli, Nefeli. And then you can look up, you can go to the Nefeli website, or you can go to Cecily Braden's website, which I think is Beauty Secrets. And then figure out when they're hosting their next one. But I think it has to be in person. I think this is a little too challenging to do. Well, that's the professional course. There's tons of folks hosting gua sha courses online right now for anybody. And I'm doing virtual gem facials online, so you can also learn that way. Because everyone has slightly different skin issues or facial structure, it's a nice thing to have it be one-on-one, because I've noticed so many people have so many questions in a class and then they get scared about asking them, or they feel it's so specific to them. When you're ready, coming and tracing right underneath the cheekbone, sorry. I'm like getting really gemstoned. Slowing down. Right in this part of the face.
So I think that's interesting. You're like really personally mapping for someone when you do a one-on-one with them.
Yeah. That's cool. And with a one-on-one, we're really able to process emotionally. So a lot of times people are having big cathartic openings and releases of sobbing, or like the giggles, like cannot stop laughing. So, and it's interesting because as soon as we move on to the next area, it's like, whoop, that emotion's completely been released. So I just moved on to the stomach, which is right over that cheekbone. We're kind of not too hard on the bone, but just going right next to it and avoiding that really gentle, soft, fleshy bit of the eye.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And like I just discovered by accident, you can also have it like this. Oh, and it's actually kind of nice to go to a new part of the tool because it's cold. Like mine totally heated up and is taking a lot of that fiery emotion that's coming up and out. And then when you're ready, you can go up right underneath the eyebrow. Again, avoiding the eyelid and that fleshy part of the eye and breathing. And there is a lift. There's an intentional lift here. So you're kind of grabbing that muscle and tissue really lovingly and gently, lifting, going all the way over that gallbladder area, this temple, and dragging up to the hairline. You can even go further into the hairline too, because you'll feel like, whoo, attachment
right
tenderness. Good. We'll do one more.
Do you feel like, just statistically speaking, when you're doing all of these Zoom gem facials, is there one place on the face that you keep seeing everybody tense or stuck or broken out right now?
Yes.
Where's that?
It's a lot of right here.
Okay.
Which is lung. So grief, processing grief. And then, like what you were saying, those frown lines, because we're on screen so much more and we're like trying to understand maybe some things that we haven't done ever before.
Yeah.
And there's rage, right? There's rage about not being in control and being stuck maybe in our homes or not being able to go into work or, you know, processing grief and loss and how our loved ones are either following protocol or not following protocol. All of it.
Lisa's asking, do you have a process diagram we can follow?
You know, I will. I've made so many in the past, but I'm working on a new one that's going to launch with my new tool.
Ladies,
see it? This is
you better tell everybody about it.
This is almost the final product, but it's I believe the only, I mean, I've been working on this for so many years, the only wearable gua sha tool. So this is a necklace where the gua sha is the pendant, and there's some serrated edge right here. And this is what's so good for, like, for example, the frown lines or any lines. I have them on my neck. Some folks have them really deep, which is actually, these you want to have. These are the Faline lines. These are your purpose lines. So the deeper they are, I mean, we're young, so they're not crazy deep yet, Colleen, but the more on purpose you are with your soul, the deeper these are. But this serrated edge is great for getting into the wrinkles and lines. So you actually go right, let me take this off for a moment. You go right into the line, right? So line's kind of at an angle there. You go in and then you go against. And what that does is it's just breaking up the pattern that is creating this continual crevice. So it's saying, no, no, no. Build collagen, build elastin, that resilience, and have a new relationship with everything else around you, right? Which is how it is with everything. You know, we shake, we dance, we shake things up or shift things, and then that helps us have a new relationship and new awareness all around us. Yeah. I'm out of it. Okay. Oh. I feel really relaxed and like not like so left brain, right? Where it's like, we are one, not linear at all.
All right. Well, I'll ask the questions then, since I'm still here.
Thank God.
So wait, hold on. Let me hold this properly. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That works.
So
going from the middle, going out.
Your amazing little tool that you just pulled out that's on a necklace. So first of all, that's awesome. Yes. Is it clear quartz?
That is clear quartz. Yeah. The first run is going to be clear quartz, and then soon to come, you know, amethyst, maybe some malachite, maybe some, we'll see. Tiger's eye.
Okay, so it's clear quartz. So it's
Yeah.
it's the black skinny gene, the amplifier of the crystal world.
Exactly.
The first
staple.
crystal you should have in your collection.
Exactly.
The one that's great to help people learn how to channel.
Yeah.
So the big question is, Julie, because I saw a couple of people saying they want one on here. Can people DM or email you to pre-order?
Please, yeah. Just send me a DM for pre-order, and then it's going to be on my website for pre-order in the next couple weeks, because I think it should all come together. I mean, we'll see. This whole COVID thing has been so interesting, right?
Oh, yeah.
It should all come together in a month.
I just posted your handle, and I'll pin that so that people can get that.
Thank you. So don't forget to go up the middle. We'll tend to that pineal gland, that third eye, the corpus callosum. Oh, hello. I look
so
younger.
Much better.
I'm curious if people want to type in what they notice. Like, is there a lift in the eyebrow? Is there less fluid, sagginess under the eye? Is this color different? Like, is that purpley dark circle gone? Does this look tighter or lifted? Are these softened? Let me know what you notice. And again, looking without judgment as much as possible, right? Like, it's so interesting to me what I see versus what each person sees on themselves. It's like, oh, that thing. I'm like, God, you look amazing. And they're like, but I just see my frown line. I'm like, okay, now what do you see? Like, I'll literally cover it up for them and be like, look at how amazing you look. So trying as much as possible to look without judgment. Oh, I remember. So that person was asking for gua sha directions, or like a map with directions. You can just Google gua sha directions, because there's so many companies that have gua sha tools now. So Audacity has some really good directions. Skin Gym. There's a ton. Will this help with sinus pain? Yes. So one thing with sinus pain, and again, really listening to your body, but a great thing to do is tap. And you can go from really, really light tapping if it's so tender, or you can go like, percussion style, like pretty hard. Just careful, because I was guiding somebody through this who was really congested, and all of a sudden it was like a faucet. Like,
really?
So just have some tissues or something nearby, because it can just loosen up some stuff that's been so clogged and tight, like obstacle for a long time. But yeah, that's a great way. Or smoothing right over that cheekbone, right over that stomach, but coming up onto the nose like how we didn't do before, and kind of opening it. A lot of times, tell me what you feel here, Colleen, I get little like knots.
Oh.
Do you feel that muscle?
Yes, I didn't know that until you just showed me, but yep.
Isn't that interesting?
Ew. What is
kind
happening
of cool
in there?
Though, right? I found that by accident, because that's not taught in professional gua sha or face massage. Maybe in what's his name? Yakov does like some pretty wild face massage. But there's like, I can get knots right in here, and you can actually take a deep breath through your nose. Ooh, you can really work through this knot, and then just gliding it out, making sure you continue gliding it out. Do you feel like my sense of smell completely just changed? Yeah.
I actually felt that in the crown of my head.
Ooh, yeah, right? Because you're widening that channel, that like receiving and releasing, that center channel. And if you feel confident and like you can go gentle, you can kind of dig a little bit. Please don't go too hard. You're not aiming to bruise.
Elizabeth has a question. What's the best crystal to use for gua sha?
Gosh, I think it's like the best is whatever you're feeling in that moment. So that could just be like what your eye is drawn to. So you like, don't get too into your head about it, but like, ooh, that color. I want that color. Mm. Or like Colleen was saying, the clear quartz is so great for did you hear Alden just screaming at the top of his lungs? Is so great for opening up the clairvoyant or the psychic, that like cleansing, clearing energy that you might be looking for. Rose quartz is so good for healing the heart, or just inviting in so much love to flood your own system. Jade is like the classic beauty stone. It's one of the first stones used in beauty ritual, and I think a hair comb was one of the first things carved as far as like self-care ritual.
Speaking of hair combs,
China. Oh, look how gorgeous.
We should talk about that. And I think Andy's on here too. I saw her.
So
there's somebody,
yeah,
somebody that we haven't discussed, but who's part of our Crystal Cave LA Mystical Partners in Crime, Sparkle and Shine, is Andy Scarborough, and she's the owner of Crown Works, and she makes these beautiful ritual combs.
Yes.
And it was actually a really great question, because somebody the last time we spoke got on and said, oh, I have a Crown Works comb. Can I use this as a gua sha tool?
Yes,
and
100%.
It's like what you were just talking about. Like, you could still do
with that serrated edge.
Yeah.
So with the comb, it's so perfect for that. Just go gently, but you can work in to these smile lines or the frown lines.
Like with this?
With the serrated edge.
What? This part?
Yes.
Oh, like
so
this?
Gentle, right? Like that comb has some more advanced, shall we say, serrated edge.
Really?
Than like this. This is going to be pretty gentle.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you just keep it taut, Colleen, with your finger, and then you come in at that angle.
Oh.
And you kind of just break it up a little bit.
This is cool.
Like, okay, tissues. We're going to lighten, soften, plump, puff it up, right? And then, so you go into the line and then against the line. So for anything.
That's cool.
Crow's feet, same deal. Against. Look, you're like double whammying it with the comb. You're getting the nasal labial fold and the crow's feet at the same time.
And then I'm going to brush my hair.
If you're in a rush, you just get out your comb, but same thing. And so same thing with like wrinkles across the top. You go into the line and then against it. Same thing here. Into. How does that feel?
It feels great. It's not as sharp as it looks.
Yeah. So then whatever you've just serrated and kind of softened away, again, just smoothing it out to finish.
So Julie, Instagram's going to kick us off in a second. I can't believe an hour has passed already. We were in the zone. Please, just one more time, tell everybody who you are and how they can find you.
𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗙𝗙𝗙. My handle is pinned. Thank you, Colleen, for pinning it. So you can reach me there. There's a bunch of free tutorials on meditation, as well as facial massage or like physical movement. That can be a great way to flush emotions, acknowledge them, and then release them. And then again, if you feel like pre-ordering the gua sha necklace, you can DM me or send me an email. Should be ready in a month.
And she's doing
goes well.
Zoom gem facials. You can bring her into your living room, bathroom, or bedroom. And as you can see,
again, folks, drink tons of water, wash your hands, drink your tea, your coffee. I love you.
All right, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on and for sharing. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
Love you so much.
Love you too, lady.
Bye.
Bye.